Which brings us to Liverpool. There are 17 days left in the transfer window, give or take. I had Don Hutchinson sitting where you're sitting last week. He was apoplectic over this Moises Caicedo. He said, like, oh, just go spend the money on Caicedo. They tried to spend the money on Caicedo. It looks like he's headed the other way. They need another body in there. It's not going to be Curtis Jones and Bacetic and Thiago, when he's fit, some combination of those three that sees you through the season. Or is it?
I don't think so, no. I think... and you don't really want McAllister, and I've said it, that you want midfield players that can do both sides of the game, but you don't really want to take away McAllister's attacking side to play him as the holding midfield player, because that's something he can do, but it doesn't get the best out of him. So they still need somebody who's got that defensive mind, particularly when you've got fullbacks that love to get forward, with Robertson and Alexander.
But of those three guys I mentioned,
Jones,
Bacetic, and Thiago. You talk about defensive mind. The only one who's got one is Bacetic, right?
I would say Jones has got a
He's
defensive.
got to adapt to it.
Yeah. Jones would be all right, but Bacetic, I think he's more of a ball player than an actual defensive player. I don't think he's got great pace to get around the field, because I always think a holding midfield player, and that's where I never liked Jorginho as a yes, good on the ball.
Gotta pick on Georgie, man.
But he couldn't get around the field and cover fullbacks. Right. And if you've got Alexander-Arnold either coming in field or bombing up the field,
it becomes so much more important.
You want a defender who can then, a holding midfield player or a defensive midfield player who can either go back in between his centre halves to allow the centre halves to go out in the wide areas, or someone that can get across the field to get out and cover the fullback. And that's what Milner and Henderson did when they were a bit younger. They did it quite well.
So this brings me back to I'm going to put the same question to you that I put to Don and what I didn't follow. You've built the team. You have 5, let's call them premium forwards.
Yeah.
Maybe even 6 if you include Szoboszlai, but he's playing in midfield, so whatever, right? Cody Gakpo.
Yeah.
Salah, Darwin Nunez, Luis Diaz, and Jota. Now, maybe they will try to adapt Gakpo into the Wijnaldum thing. I'm not sure also because he has a much bigger... Wijnaldum was more compact, low to the ground, side to side. Gakpo was a big kid. I don't know that that's going to be quite as easy. If you're short on money to buy a defensive midfielder, surely do you need 5 premium forwards when you also have Harvey Elliott, this kid Doak who looked good, Szoboszlai could fill in the front. Are you not better just moving one of those guys and investing into a defensive midfielder? Because right now it feels like they're all being shoehorned and shuttled towards Romeo Lavia and there's nobody else. Yeah. Right? Are you not better off doing that?
I think you'd have a more what's the right word? Balanced squad and a balanced team if you got rid of one of those front players.
It's just that they're expensive. There's a lot of resources tied up in the amortization of these guys and in their salaries. That's the only thing I just wonder about. I mean, if it is about resource allocation, you're short in one area. If that's what you need to do, since you don't have limitless funds.
But I'll go a slightly different way to this. All managers seem to follow everybody else. And I think that a lot of managers now looking at the way Joel Linton at Newcastle has been changed from a centre forward or an outside left to a really good attacking midfield player who can do the defensive side of the game. Suddenly got in his mind, I can get around the field. Arsenal are going to do it with Havertz. Havertz is going to play in that left, sort of inside left position where Xhaka was playing last season. And you're going to see a lot more. And Gakpo the Liverpool are trying to do exactly the same with him. So it could be a little thing at the moment, a fad at the moment. The managers want to get
forward into midfield.
Forwards into midfield, but who can get forward?
It's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, you can always, you can look at things differently. Havertz obviously played midfield earlier in his career and did so for a long time. Some people question whether he's a centre forward. Joe Linton, I think, is a really, really good example. I think you need a certain kind of humility, and I think you also need to have much more of kind of like a stamina engine rather than a sprint engine. A lot of times with those bigger center forwards, you have those guys who they're asked just to sprint.
You've got to know what their physicality is.
Exactly.
All those tests they do. All the running tests.
And that's why Gakpo wouldn't seem like an obvious one, but I'll tell you what, Joe Linton didn't seem like an obvious one either.
No.
So who knows? That's going to be interesting to watch. But But logic suggests if you had
You've got to balance your squad.
They're going to add a body in midfield.
They've got to add a very good body in midfield.
All right.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.